Good? Yay, you're here. Okay. When you pop in, just let me know if you can hear me okay. I'm using an external microphone, and hopefully it's not giving me any trouble. Hello, friends. How are you? Happy Wednesday. So I wanted to talk about fear today. Oh my God. Because I don't know if you realize this. Fear is learned. I am good. I've got my new yoga ball. Traveling Nancy, I've got my new yoga ball that I sit on instead of my old desk chair because I realized that my desk chair was causing me back pain when I woke up to a thrown out back. And so I switched to a new yoga ball that it's working out well for me. Keeps me kind of like, sucking in the core, not feeling like I'm hunching over my computer. And then next step is standing desk, and that's coming soon. Anyway, my name is Gwen, if you don't know me, and I am an ULA Life coach and also a wellness junkie. I love talking about health and wealth, especially on Wellness Wednesday, or we can call it Wealth Wednesday. And by Wealth Wednesday, I just mean like wealth in your whole life, right? Like living a life of abundance. And today I want to talk about fear. Because I don't know if you realize this, but we actually learn fear. We are born with two fears in our life. We're born with two. And the first one is the fear of falling. So as a baby, like being held, we would startle if someone like dropped us or pretended to drop us, right? We have that fear of falling. And then the other fear is of loud noise. Those are pretty common fears, right? Because we've been a baby in a womb where it was like nice and quiet and coddled and no one was dropping us. Like to be born with those two fears, got it, understand it. But as we get older and we move on from being a kid, we start learning other fears in our life. And I don't know about you, but sometimes we find that these fears are keeping us from living a life that we desire and a life that we deserve. And so I want to talk about how to nix the fears. How can we evaluate what's going on in our life? How can we move towards that living life of ULA, right? A life that's completely balanced in the 7 key areas of life, or a life that is growing in the 7 key areas of life. How can we move towards that? By looking at fear in our lives and seeing if it's something that is holding us back. I call it an ULA blocker. It is blocking you from moving forward in your life. So how can we get rid of it, right? So let me know if you've ever had a fear in your life, because I can think of a million different fears that I have encountered as an adult, even back to like my high school age. Because it's like you're 7 or 8 and you don't really have any fears. And then you're 9 and 10 and you start to learn other fears by watching other people. And you start to get like limiting beliefs in your life just by things that people are telling you or have told you. You start to make up stories in your head, right? And as we get into adulthood, fear can be one of the biggest things holding us back. Most of the fear that we have is unjustified, meaning we create it in our own mind and body, and then it holds us back from doing the things that we want to do. Danielle says, fear when I was losing my business of doing hair in 2020. Yeah, dude, how many people feared losing their business in the year 2020? The year of unknown, right? Nobody knew where we were going. But Danielle says, trust the process. But now she trusts the process and she works for ULA and she gets it. She gets the ULA life. She gets how to look for these blockers and go, don't need you anymore. Let's live a life that I desire. Let's live a life that I design. Let's trust and have faith in the process and let's get there. I can think of fear that I had when starting to go to a new gym. Like, I don't know why that is. I love the gym. Does anybody else love the gym? Like, I love going to the gym. But there's that fear of meeting new people. And I think it's like, you're afraid of what other people are going to think of you. First impressions are everything. How are they going to look at me? Are they going to be better than me? Am I going to know what I'm doing? Am I going to look like an idiot, right? Like, we have all these things that go through our head that literally are unjustified fears. They're unjustified. I had a fear of starting graduate school. Right? Danielle says, when blockers come up, you pivot and you live in gratitude. And that's the thing that we have to learn to do. But we also, Danielle, tell me if I'm wrong, we also have to be able to recognize the blocker, right? It's like, oh, that's holding me back. Let's evaluate why I've made up that fear, made up that story, embodied that blocker, and then let's figure out how to pivot and shift and turn away from it so that we can live in gratitude. Where else have I had fear? I had fear of leaving my husband, and it wasn't even the fear of leaving my first husband. It was more like the fear of what are other people going to think of me? Do you see how that fear keeps coming up for me? I don't know if you guys have a fear that's wrapped around something super specific for you. But for me, it was always ego. It was always, what are people going to think of me when I say or do this thing? And I think that happens for a lot of people. I also had fear of leaving my job because the unknown. I mean, back in 2017 when I did that, but I went to school for 8 years and I'm doing the right thing by going to school and then getting a job. And then how am I going to live this life that no one else is going to understand? What are people going to think of me? What are my parents going to think of me when I tell them that I want to leave my job? What is my husband going to think of me? Will my kids, you just start to play the fear game. So what the Willow Guys explain as fear, they break it down into an acronym: false expectations that appear real. False expectations that appear real. These are false expectations, right? We make up these stories in our mind. What happens in life when we're presented with an opportunity? What do? Usually we go, but, what if this? And what if this goes wrong? And what if this goes wrong? And we analyze the opportunity to death before we even give it a reason that it could work, right? That's what we do. We overanalyze it all. It is obnoxious what our brains and our minds make a pathway to do. But I'm here to tell you this. I'm here to tell you that even if that has been your pathway, even if that is the way that you have functioned in saying, well, what if this goes wrong? And that's just like the groove that you've created and followed. You can smooth out the groove, right? You can clear the groove that's been, I don't know, what's a farming word? Help me out, Danielle. What's a farming word? You've created this track in the sand. Well, you can smooth it out anytime you want to and create a new one. That's how easy it is to recognize a blocker, to rewrite it, and then to live in faith and gratitude and find a life and create a life that you desire and you deserve, right? One of the things that keeps us from acting on an opportunity and growing is this fear. So I know a lot of you are probably going, okay, well, great, Gwen, I've recognized that I have this blocker that's blocking me and it has blocked me from other opportunities. Well, how do I pivot? What do I do? How can I change this in my life? Clear the sand, make it flat again, and recreate a new path. How do I do that? And you guys know in part that it's consistency. So the next things that I'm going to share with you, just remember that it takes us doing it over and over again, because for 37 years, I was so used to doing it this way that I created such a deep groove that it took time to undo that groove and get it flat again and create a new one, right? You just have to first make the decision that you want to create the life that you desire. You deserve this life, and you just have to create the decision in your mind that you're going for it. Because what if we said, instead of, what if this goes wrong? What if we said, what if this goes right? Right? Literally not a hard thing to say, not a hard thing to write down. What if you wrote a pros and cons list and you evaluated the two areas with a clear mind looking at both sides, right? So if fear is holding you back, how do you find the safe space in between? Because we can't completely desire, let me take that back. We can't completely disregard fear either, because there's another side to this coin too. There are situations, I think it's Dr. Troy that tells a story about going on a safari trip, and the guide comes to meet them to bring him and his son to their cabin where they're staying. And the guide's like, okay, I'm going to guide you there. The guide has a gun, and he's like, okay, I'm going to walk you guys to your room. And the doc's like, I don't know. We got this. Like, I'll find my way. And he's like, no, I'm going to guide you to your room. And the doctor's like, I don't understand. Like, what? No, I got this. Like, I'm not you're playing, right? But there's this fear there of like literally being on the safari where there are these animals at night that can actually attack you, right? So we can't completely disregard fear. It is a human trait that is important for us in life, right? We can't completely disregard it, but we have to somehow find the balance in between. So a couple of the things that I like to do, I talk about clearing the house, like creating the temple. And the temple is simply your body and your mind, right? Danielle says, find gratitude even in the funk. Be fear in not living your purpose. Yeah, be fearful of not living your purpose, right? That's so true, Danielle. Be fearful of not living your purpose. What if you don't live your purpose? Then what? Then what happens in your life? What does your life look like if you don't live your purpose? So I like to do something called clearing the space, clearing the house, creating the sacred home. And all I'm talking about is like the temple that is your mind and your body and your spirit. Okay. Mindset work, personal development work. This stuff is huge. And people get freaked out when you talk about personal development. It doesn't mean you need to go to like a Tony Robbins in-person event, although those are amazing. But are you reading things that are growing your mind and allowing you to think about opportunity and positivity? Are you listening to things? Are you speaking to yourself in a way that allows your mind and your body and your spirit to grow so that you can live more in desire and live more with what you deserve, right? I love my oils. We can raise our frequency and we can change our mindset just by using and diffusing and breathing in our oils that can change the way that we show up every day. We can journal. We can write down our thoughts of gratitude. And it's all about bringing awareness to the body and being able to recognize when we are blocking ourselves with our own thoughts from doing something that we deserve and something that we desire. Vision casting is huge. If you're not visualizing how you want to see your life, how you expect to see your life, the things that you know should be coming in your life because of the actions that you're taking, if you're not doing that, take 5 minutes every single night and sit down and do that, right? And then the other thing that you can do that I find is super, super helpful, the Ula guys taught me this, and I've been doing it every day since, is a little 3x5 note card. These are literally your action steps that you need to take that are going to push you towards living your life you deserve, living a life that you desire. And if at night before you go to bed, you write down 3 daily things that you can do, 3 things that you can do tomorrow that will keep you on the path and will get you on the path to living that life. And you keep this note card with you all day long so that you're reminded exactly of what you can be doing to live a life you desire, then you will do them. Because a post today, I said, just 3 action steps towards the life that you desire and deserve a day are over 1,000 steps in a year. So all you have to do is keep showing up and keep putting one foot in front of the other and keep being able to recognize when your own mind is blocking you from what you deserve and what you desire. And then you get to take action, because thought without action will get you nowhere, right? Thought without vision will get you nowhere. So pulling that all together, don't let fear block you from showing up from the life that you deserve, because I wish I could scroll back up to Danielle's comment. Instead, fear what it would be like if you didn't live a life of purpose. How would that feel? Instead of fearing the what ifs, right? The bad what ifs. So put yourself in the place, do those daily action steps, and then see how you work to push yourself forward, and then how you can reach a hand back and share these same things with somebody else and help them move their life towards Ula, towards balance and growth and creating a life that you desire and deserve. And I love you guys. I thank you so much for being here. If you have any questions, let me know. Peace out. Happy Wealth Wednesday, friends.